So as we stretch, as I was saying, I've been reading a lot recently about not pushing into pain. So there's this difference between pain and like your area of growth, your edge, where it's uncomfortable. So in yoga, it's really, really important that we learn this edge. So particularly when we're doing front body stretches, aka back bends, I'm trying to move away from calling them back bends. My wonderful teacher, you can follow Blissology, teaches about how we want to be focusing on the stretch of the front of the body as opposed to the bend. Some people's bodies aren't meant to bend. Some people have bigger vertebrae in their back, bigger bones, less flexion in their hips, deeper hips, narrower hips, wider hips. Everybody's made it really, really differently. So we're never trying to get to a pose, an end pose. We use the poses to guide us, but it's all about the feeling. So if you're feeling crunching or any pinching in your lower back, when we do these front body stretches, please stop and go back a little bit, just back off. It's really, really important that we do that. I didn't do that for years, and in the end it's ended up pushing my back into limits that it shouldn't have, and through poor posture and not having been aligned properly in the past, etc, etc. You can follow my story on Blonde Susie or Ahimsa _wellbeing. But basically what I'm trying to say is don't be me and push into it too far just because you want to get to a place. I've learned over the last few years that that's not what it's about, and I find so much more joy in yoga, so much more. So without further ado, let's just close our eyes, just rolling your shoulders back and find that engagement as you're sat here. So if you're sat and you're rolling back in your pelvis, can you see that if I'm uncomfortable sat here and I'm rolling back, then just placing a cushion or a block under the back of your hips, not all the way under, just under the edge of the back, so the back of your bum, to lift yourself so that you can be neutral here. We want our pelvis to be upright, not rolling back and not rolling too forward so I'm arching. We want to be in this neutral position. So just closing your eyes, just taking 5 long breaths into your belly and all the way out. All the way in, filling your belly, fill your back ribs, filling the back of your heart with breath, and all the way out. Just go with your own breath now, 2 more. Breathe out through an open mouth if you need to let something go. And when you're ready, moving to a table position, so coming to all fours, we're just going to start to roll through the spine. We're going to do this slightly differently to usual. So we're not cat and cow. We're going to take it to downward dog. I'm going to show you first. So we're going to go downward dog, high plank, rolling down to a cobra position, and then back to your downward dog. So you're kind of rolling through the spine here and then rolling your hips down. So your spine's getting a real kind of roll out. Imagine like rolling along it with a rolling pin. So finding your downward dog as you lift your hips away from you. Just take a breath here first. And on your next inhale, you're rolling your back all the way up to a high rounded plank. As you exhale, dropping your hips down and inhale into cobra. And then exhale back. Inhale, rolling forward, roll the hips down. As you inhale, hips come all the way down, find cobra. And as you exhale, press back to downward dog. 3 more like this. Inhale, rolling over your toes, rolling down to cobra, drop your hips, bend your elbows. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, rolling, make it as big or as small as you want to. Drop your hips, elbows tucked in and bent. Exhale, downward dog. 1 more. Inhale, rolling, dropping your hips down, find cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Just enjoying your downward dog here, finding your lift. Relax your neck, press through your hands, shoulders are broad, so your inner elbows maybe roll towards each other. Shoulders are broad at the back of the body, hips lift. As you inhale, step forwards, and let's just find a forward fold. So step your feet between your hands, and then you're just going to bend your knees and allow yourself to hang. Can you see how the intention here isn't to straighten our legs and round through our back so that we create a hinge here. We're wanting to bend the knees and lift the hips so the sit bones are trying to face the sky. So this way my body is along my thighs and I can hang and it's safe on my back. My back is nice and straight. So if I need to bend my knees more, I can bend my knees more. Good, as we inhale, lifting nice and long through the spine. Exhale back down. 2 more like that. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. So when you're lifting, you can bring your hands to your shins if you're not so flexible to keep your fingers on the floor. As I said, everybody's bodies are different. We're in different places on different days. So listen to your body. As you exhale, fold back down. And then inhale, opening all the way out. Stretch it up. And we're going to take it back down. But first of all, we're going to just press our hips forward. So finding that line, that pelvis position. Bring the arms down. Let's just play with this. So if you tuck your tail under, tucking your tail, you can see that you round through the back. If I take my tail and arch my back, this is my pelvis tilting forward. Then I've got an arch in my back, and that's not a neutral position. So if I just find engagement by tucking my tail slightly, pressing my pubic bone down towards the floor, rolling my thighs in, this is a really nice strong position for me to be able to start moving from. So placing your hands on your hips so that you're holding your own bum. So here then we press the hips forward, we make sure the tail stays tucked as we come into maybe a slight front body stretch. So the front of the body might be getting a little bit of a stretch. You might only micro move, you might really move back a lot. So listen to your own body. But can you see how my hips are still forwards? I haven't dropped back here. My hips are pressing forwards and I'm lifting my sternum towards the sky. If you want to, you can bring your arms up into it, keeping your tailbone tucked, core engaged, and as you exhale, flow all the way down. Inhale, step the right leg back, find your crescent lunge. So drop your hips here, just find your evenness in your hips, make sure your right hip doesn't drop down to the side. So just even yourself out and your knee is above your ankle. So nice and level here, and again, we're going to engage our core so that we pull our pelvis neutral. So I can drop into this, really arch my back and bend back. But then my hinge in my back is from here. And we're not wanting to hinge in our back at all. We want a really nice even stretch through the whole of the front of our body. So dropping yourself here, but pulling your belly in. Your belly button pulls in and your pelvis tucks under. So that then when we reach up, we're reaching up from a really neutral position and the whole stretch is along the front of my body. Lifting your sternum here up to the sky. You'll probably feel more of a stretch in your psoas as you engage your pelvis. And on your next inhale, bring your hands down. Your left knee meets your right. Roll through knees, chest and chin. So you roll the body down. Inhale to Cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Lift your hips. Again, find your downward dog. And if anybody wants any help with alignment, please do message me. Alignment is so, so important in yoga. We've come away from alignment and that peace that we want to find in our body and our mind, the yogic way of life, and instead just reaching for a pose. So let's just move away from that and find the feeling in yoga. Inhale, step your right foot forward. Let's come to a lunge on the other side. So do the same, find your alignment, level your hips out. And again, we want to find this core engagement. So tucking your tail under so that your pelvis is neutral. So you might feel more of a stretch on your hip flexor here at the front of the left leg on this side. So if I engage my pelvis into a neutral position, so it's not tilting forward, sit it up, then I get more of a stretch here on my hip flexor. So the front body stretch starts here all along this left leg. And then when I bring my arms up, I keep engaged, lift my chest as if I'm trying to lift up and over an imaginary bar at the back. So then I can feel the stretch along the whole of the front of my body as opposed to in the lower back, which I always used to feel. Good, inhale, bring your hands down, step the left foot to meet the right, just bend through the knees as you forward fold. Inhale all the way up, pressing your hips forward to find that front body stretch as we go back down. Exhale, flow forwards. Inhale, this time the left foot goes back first, and we're going to twist in our low lunge this time. So a healthy spine requires twists and bends all different ways, so we're stretching the front and the back of the body. So let's twist to the right, taking your left hand on the outside of your right knee. So this hand can either stretch out behind you or wrap around your waist. If you want more here, you can slide this hand down to your elbow, bring your hands to heart center, and look behind you. Just finding that core engagement still, but loving, enjoying this yummy twist in the back. If you want a little bit more, you can lift the back leg off the floor. If you're wearing shorts like me, your elbow might be slipping along your knee, so just readjust. And then let's come back to the front, bring the hands down to the mat, your right knee meets your left. Find your knees, chest, chin. Inhale to Cobra, exhale, downward dog. Bringing your left foot forward, do the same on the other side. The right knee comes down. So just find your alignment, find your engagement. And we're twisting to the left this time. So your right hand is on the outside of the left knee. You're leaving your hips where they are and twisting your torso to look around behind you, perhaps round to the left. Your left hand can be extended or wrapped around your waist. Or if you're sliding and you did on the other side, slide your right hand down so that your hands come into Anjali Mudra. Your elbow is at the knee. Press into your hands to help give you a bit of a lever to twist a bit more. Good. Inhale, bring the hands down. Step the right foot to meet the left. Find a nice long position, and as you forward fold, inhale, lifting up. Strong legs, reaching up, shoulders down. Pressing your hips forward. Maybe you're finding a little bit of a stretch. Good, let's take it all the way back down. Exhale down. Inhale, long through the spine. Hands to the shins or to the floor. We're lengthening through our legs and our back. So you come to wherever you need to. Look down to the floor. Find this length, this traction as your head pulls away from your sit bones. As you exhale, step back. Find your plank. We need a strong core to have a safe spine. Find your plank and lower yourself all the way down. I'm going to come up to our Cobra first. So keeping your hips down, we're staying here for a few breaths. So work on your Cobra. Your hands are so important here. Using your fingers to grip the mat. Shoulders are down, elbows tucked in. And we're pressing the pubic bone down into the mat. So again, that your front body stretch is through the whole of the front of the body and not just in one place. This gives us a nice alignment and takes that spinal hinge out of the pose. So you might be all the way down here, you might be up here, it doesn't matter. Wherever you are, it's just working on getting a stretch in the front of your body. Looking forward, keep the chin tucked in. Again, your sternum, your chest, your breastbone is feeling like it's lifting up and away from you. Good, let's bring yourself down. So taking our Sphynx pose or seal here. So 2 options. Your elbows are right underneath your hands. I'm just going to shuffle back so you have a better view. So your shoulders above your elbows and you're looking forward here. So again, press your pubic bone down. This means that you're tucking the tail. So your pelvis is again coming into a nice position. And if you want more, you can straighten your arms and lift through the arms. You can shuffle your hands away from you if you need to. Drop your shoulders, looking forwards. And then when you're ready, just bringing yourself down. Let's take our lotus pose. Locust, sorry, I'm just going to shuffle my mat back slightly. So I'm in the best position, lowering all the way down. Have the back of your hands down on the mat. As we inhale, we're lifting our back. Lift your back, lift your chest, shining your chest forward. So starting to work the chest and the back to lift you up. And then bring yourself down. So this time you might bring your legs and your arms into it as well. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, lift the legs, lift the hands. Good, just finding that lift, finding the engagement at the back of the body. And then lower yourself all the way down. So we're going to take our bow pose now. So bow pose, you're going to go really easy. So if when you bend your knees, you can't grab your feet with your hands, then just come back to locust. So locust is our pre-pose to bow pose. And again, it doesn't matter where we are, what we're doing, what pose we're doing. We're just trying to get the benefit of the pose. So don't worry about shapes or where everybody else might be or what I'm doing. If you are coming to bow, if you point your toes and hold your feet or your ankles, keep your knees in alignment with each other. And as you inhale, you lift your chest. Exhale, lift the legs. So let's just take it easy for the first one. The legs are pressing in to your hands. Like your dancer pose we did last week. Shoulder blades engage. And then bring yourself down. So just relax down, take the right side of your face onto the mat. And let your shoulders relax. We're going to take that one more time. I'm not going to speak this time. Just so you can see if you can move into it a little bit deeper. But again, really be mindful of your back. So bringing your hands to your feet. It's really important that we keep our knees aligned with our hips. So when you come up, if you're feeling like you're pulling your knees out, then come back to locust pose. It's better to be in a safe alignment. As you inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, lift the legs. And maybe you can play around with how high you can come up. Pressing into your hands. And then lowering yourself down. Take the left side of your face onto the mat. And just take a moment. Relax your arms and your shoulders however they need to relax. And we're going to bring ourselves up to our table position. So for this, if you've got a strap, grab a strap. If you're not using a strap today, then maybe you have a dressing gown robe or a belt maybe. You want something that's not stretchy ideally. So if you want these belts, they're brilliant. And again, if it's something you want, I'm actually just about to do an order for all my yogis. So do drop me a message if you want to get one of these. They're brilliant. They're hemp belts. Last really long. I've had mine for years, probably about 10 years. So when we're going to come into King Pigeon. So there's a lot of different ways to find this pose and find the benefit of the pose. So you're opening your hips and doing a back bend at the same time. But we're just going to focus on finding our balance in pigeon, and then however you can hold the foot. So I'm just going to show you first. I'm going to turn this way, do my right leg first. So we're going to bring our right foot forwards from our table position and shuffle the right foot to the left side of the mat so that the knee drops down. Can you see that my knees drop down and I've allowed my foot to come quite close to me? So even if you normally are quite open here in your pigeon, we're going to just let your foot do whatever it wants to do to help you balance. We don't want a super deep pigeon. So make sure that your left foot behind you is pointing out straight and find your balance here. Then taking the right hand into the middle underneath your face, we're bending the left foot and grabbing the foot. So here is where there are many options. So if you're not grabbing the foot today, you're staying in your pigeon and finding a back bend here, like this. Which is, you can see that my back is bending, I'm getting a front body stretch. So again, if I press my pubic bone down, I can really find a stretch here. So if the next point might be that you hold your foot and you try to turn back to the front as much as you can and just work on reaching this foot. The foot can press into your hand. The other option is to hook your foot with the strap so that you can hold the strap, and you bring the strap so that you can bring your hands over your head. So then you have both the hands on the strap and you can find your king pigeon. So it's quite a back bend. You're pressing your pelvis down still. So your pubic bone is pressing down, tucking your tail and finding lift. So your chest is lifting. I'm not trying to fall back. So I could fall back into a deep back bend and then I would be compromising my spine. So wherever you are, just enjoying pigeon and a stretch in the front of your body. Just holding, and then when you're ready, you release the strap, release the foot, and let's release the pose. So just gently push back, give your right leg a shake. So we will go back into pigeon at the end just to release our back. So unbind your foot from the strap if you use the strap. And we're going to take the other side. So bringing your left foot forward, shuffle that left foot across to the right side of the mat. Allow your knee to fall. Find your pigeon pose. I'm starting to end up in the plants, so move your mat, just find where you need to be. So if you've never done pigeon pose before, this is an absolutely amazing hip opener and a pose that we all should be doing. Everybody, especially if you're sitting a lot, you're doing squats, you're weightlifting, you're driving a lot, just basically everybody, because it's a really, really good hip opener. Gets that mobility in the hip joint. So just find your pigeon, and again, this time we're taking the left hand underneath our face, and you're either grabbing your foot with your hand and facing back to the front, so you're opening your shoulder as well. So if you haven't got a very open shoulder, that can be a little tricky. You can also hook your foot, so you're trying to hook at the top of your foot as much as possible, which can be again a little bit tricky. And then we're turning the shoulder open. So can you see how my arms are above my head, going over and back? Because if I'm holding something, dropping it behind my head. So it's a stretch. You might get a stretch on the quad. So again, pressing your pelvis, tucking your pelvis under, tucking your tail under, and finding king pigeon wherever you are. Breathing. If you're just in pigeon, leaning back, enjoy the stretch. And then when you're ready, let's release. Unbind your foot, which can be tricky. And just step out of the pose. So press back. Good. Give your legs a shake. Maybe just shake your hips from side to side. And we're going to find our pigeon on each side now properly. So bring your foot. So I will just, before I carry on, I'm just going to cue how to come into this from downward dog. So my normal way of coming into this is from downward dog, you bring your right knee into your chest and send it to the right side of the mat, and your right foot to the left side of the mat, and then press your left leg back. Can you see how I'm just lifting with my toes? I'm lifting my leg off and shuffling it back. So you might be a little bit more open than normal today because it's warm. So let's just use that heat gently and mindfully to come down to your pigeon pose. So just relax your hips. You can hold the foot like I am if you want to, or you can release both your hands forward, or you can come down onto a cushion or a block. Wherever you are, just finding some stretch on the right side of the hip. Just make sure you're not falling to the right side. We want to be nice and even here. Just relaxing down. Breathing everything out. Just let go of any tension in your back or your hips. Seeing if you can breathe it out. As you breathe in, let anything you don't need go through an open mouth. Sigh it out. Any expectations of you or the pose, anything that you need to be doing, anything you feel like you should be doing or you haven't done, any way in which you think you're failing, just let it all out. Breathe it out. Good, let's press back slowly. Kick that right leg back, give it a nice shake, do whatever you need to. I like to kind of twist my foot from side to side, my hip. Pressing up to downward dog. Just taking a moment here so everybody can catch up. And when you're ready, bringing your left knee in and opening that hip. So open your left knee to the left side of the mat. Open the foot more if you want more. Your foot might come right close to your body, and that's fine. Again, can you see that I'm lifting that back leg and shuffling back? So rather than trying to lean more forward, if you want more, you shuffle back so that we keep space in the hip joint. We really want to keep space in our back and our hips here. And then just bringing yourself down, maybe onto a cushion, maybe blocks if you have blocks. Again, if anybody wants blocks, give me a shout. Blocks and straps are wonderful props for yoga. Can also be used in other fitness things, fitness exercises, as are bolsters. So bolsters to go under your knees in Shavasana is honestly absolutely heavenly, as we'll find out in a minute. Just release your hip, seeing if there's anything you're holding on to here. So as soon as I said that, I noticed that I was holding. So I'm cueing as much for myself as I am for you. Just let it all out, whatever we don't need. All of those worries, all of that high expectations of ourselves. We are right where we're supposed to be. You are right where you are supposed to be. Just keep telling yourself that. It's so true. It's not something I'm just saying. Whatever you're going through, whatever you're learning, whatever difficulties you face, they're all perfect. They're all exactly what we're supposed to be learning. Just breathe out any other ideas or worries about that. And just gently press back. So just take your time. Lift that leg. It can feel like it can hardly move. It should be a little bit easier because we're warm today. Give it a really nice shake. And just rock your hips from side to side in your table pose for a moment. And we're going to take a really yummy stretch now, a twist on our back. So finding yourself on your back, on your mat, rolling your knees into your chest. Just take a moment to make sure that your back feels nice. So open your knees if you need to, pressing your lower back down into the mat. Shuffle your hips from side to side. Just rolling anything out. From here, keeping the right knee into your chest, extend your left leg. So we're going to roll to the left, allowing that knee to just fall to wherever it falls to, and look back across to the right. Trying to keep your right shoulder down if you can. So the right knee might not reach the floor, and that's fine. If you want more, you can shuffle your hips to the right, or just stay where you are. Just kind of move your knee up and down. Just find what you need to stretch out. This is a really lovely way to stretch out anything that's holding in the lower back. So even if we're just coming to front body stretches, or we do them all the time, there's usually something, maybe our body isn't so used to them, or you're just getting a reaction that day. So just make sure your lower back is nice and sound. Roll back into the middle, switch legs. So this time the right leg is extended, left knee into the chest, and just roll across to the right. Not into the plants like me. Look across to the left. Try and keep this left shoulder down. Just enjoy that yummy release all around our middle. So the sunshine and the amount of sunshine we had over the weekend, the longest day, is all connected with our solar plexus chakra. This chakra is right in the middle, our Manipura chakra. It's also connected to our Manipura loop and our adrenal glands. So our ego and stress and doing can be really, really kind of highlighted or activated. And there's lots of sunshine, lots of active energy. So having this time at the end of practice, whatever you're doing, even if you're doing any fitness class, a few moments of yoga just to slow right down, it's really, really essential. Just find that balance here. So just roll back onto your back. And again, we're just trying to balance this area and try and find some yin energy now. We're just going to relax all the way down. So if you need to keep your knees bent, then keep your knees bent. If you feel good, stretching your legs out, stretch your arms out as well if you want to. Just take up the space, honor your body and whatever it needs here. And just notice your breath. Is it short and rigid? If it is, just guiding it to slow right down. Just gently, we're not forcing anything. Your breath will get the message as your body starts to relax. And in turn, your body will relax more as your breath relaxes. So your mind follows suit. So let's just unwind everything. So you can hear in the background, I've got some healing frequencies being played. They just help realign our body to a vibration that is more suited to us. We can get out of kilter if we're stressed, if we're running around, if we're around things that set our negative energies into play. But negative energies are just a different vibration. We just call them negative, but we can choose to vibrate on a higher level. Finding yoga, finding meditation, finding time to be still. So again, if that's something that you're interested in, just let me know, drop me a message. I'm here to help everybody feel better and find some of that outer and inner peace that we all crave. just bringing a little bit of activity and movement back into your arms and legs. If you want to, stay here. I'm going to close up the session, but if you want to stay here, and if you can, please stay in your Shavasana for as long as you need to. For those of us coming out, let's just bring your knees into your chest, hug behind your thighs, give yourself a really big hug, like someone you're going to hug when you come out of lockdown and we can finally hug again. By the way, that's all of you Worcester people. As soon as you come back into Fitness for Less, there's going to be hugs galore. When you're ready, rolling yourself up and just coming to comfortable seated position. So anybody that does my classes knows I'm a hugger. So yeah, expect hugs. But I'm just sending you a giant virtual hug right now. Just relax your shoulders down your back. Find that engagement. Bring your hands to Anjali Mudra. Allow your thumb knuckles to touch your heart space so you get that connection. Just open your eyes gently.